I still remember my first visit to Bavalme in July 2011. Our vehicle had to use a guide to drive towards indistinguishable features on the horizon, a lone tree or a sand dune, to direct us to a place more than 12 kilometers off the last known track in the desert sand. It was a bleak picture. The area was drier than the rest of the Sahel, not a single mud brick building, no school, no health center, just people living a pastoralist lifestyle in a forgotten corner of Chad. Our team was warmly received. The community center gave us shade from the relentlessly burning sun. We sat on oriental rocks and drank tea. The first meeting with the tribal chiefs and the village elders went as expected. On one side, the representatives of a powerful humanitarian organization. On the other side, the representatives of the people of a remote and poor region. The expectation was that our organization would have the wonder cure for all the medical ills and the neglect people have been experiencing over years. All we came to offer was to open an ambulatory therapeutic feeding center. There was a nutrition emergency among the children under 5 in the area. Once a week, a mobile medical team would arrive to assess, diagnose, and treat in the shade of a tree in the center of the village. Mothers with their sick children would have to ride on donkeys from the surrounding villages. I was impressed by the reaction of the men in Bavalme to our very limited offering to their expansive unmet community needs. When Chadian staff addressed the waiting mothers to inform them about the nutrition program, all the political and religious authorities stood behind us to show the strongest possible endorsement for the organization's intentions. One chef de village trained to work as a community health worker. He would be riding from village to village to do community mobilization, health education, and to screen the children for malnutrition. He dedicated 4 days a week to do outreach and was also helping out on clinic days. His father, a former chief, and his deputy carried on his political functions. And what a response we got from the community. Within 2 weeks, we had more than 100 children enrolled in the program. Some of them needed to be transferred to intensive care in the regional center. They were too sick and too weak to be treated in the community with no health facilities. Within a month, we discharged the first children as cured, and the number of new admissions started to decrease. On the other hand, the number of requests for help from the community started to increase. Of course, it was hard for the medical teams to refer all requests for basic health and medical care to the nearest government health center, a mere 4-day camel ride away. Our mandate allowed only treating life-threatening emergencies. But then, we also received a request for 2 bags of cement. The community decided to improve sanitation and built the first ever latrine near our clinic site. Next, the community leaders asked us to establish a permanent health center to meet the needs of the people. As a humanitarian organization that responds to medical emergencies, we don't have the capacities to sustain development work. So we lobbied the Ministry of Health to consider such a request. By the time he announced the withdrawal from the nutrition project, there were rumors that the dream of local health services could come true. The Ministry of Health hired a nurse for Bab al-Meh. In early December, the community recruited volunteers to a nearby oasis to fabricate several hundred mud bricks for a future health center. It was so rewarding to see how a community could be inspired by the dedication of our mobile medical teams. They demonstrated that change is possible by driving to this outpost of simple civilization in the desert on a weekly basis. With simple means, we turned around the fate of several hundred malnourished children. The community decided not to wait any longer for a distant government to take action. It took the initiative to build their own health center to meet its needs and to reduce the suffering that was for centuries considered as God-given. On my last visit, Bab al-Meh looked so much greener than before. After all, I saw some hope.